There are many devices used to provide CPAP as well. So you can see here the infant flow driver, the CPAP machine, and biphasic CPAP is delivered through this one. As I mentioned, there are many other brands which come up with the biphasic CPAP model. The flow driver, we have the Aladdin, we have the Fabian one, we have Medin. So different companies are coming out with similar, and all of these work through a flow generator at the nasal level. Infant flow driver we call it, and the SLE CPAP, the single limb one, also uses the same mechanism. This is the bubble CPAP. I mean, when we discussed about indigenous CPAP when I was training, when we didn't have a proper CPAP unit, this is literally what we used to do, but in a non-technical way. So we used to have the Y connection with air and oxygen, and we used to have an underwater bottle. The depth of the tube immersing into it, it's something similar to what we used to drain the pneumothorax with underwater seal. But we didn't have humidification for that, and now with the bubble CPAP, we have a proper setup with the humidity and everything else, and the depth of insertion will control the CPAP level. In terms of CPAP delivery, we have different interfaces. Many companies come out, the ventilator manufacturers come out with it as well, and we have the hood, the strap and hood mechanism, the cap, and then the fixing mechanism. This is a Hudson prong, and this is the mask, the prongs, and the binasal prongs, Argyle prongs. So we have many soft silicone-based material which is less traumatic, and we often put deoderm, which is a protective coating, easily peeling so it doesn't damage the skin when you remove it. And making sure that this strap is not too tight and there is no pull upward on the nose. It should be just sitting below and not pulling up. And remember that the baby can move the head, and the nurses have to check the position every hour to prevent nasal injury. And they shouldn't be really touching the nasal septum. So this nasal septum as well as the ALI can both get damaged if the size is not okay. So this is a baby who is comfortably fixed with the hood mechanism, and this is a mask. The reason many nurses prefer the mask is because of the less chances of septal injury. The leak around the mask may help the baby decompress as well. But most units cycle between them every 6 to 8 hours, and the same interface can be kept safely and in a hygienic way, and you reuse it for the same baby, of course. And many of you may be using RAM cannula. Controversy around RAM cannula because of the level of pressure delivery being variable. So this is a single cannula. It's a closed loop. So you need the leak around the nostrils, 30% leak to allow exhalation. Otherwise, the baby's needing to open the mouth to exhale. That's not always ideal. And this adapter fits to all ventilator connections, similar to the 80 tube adapter fitting to the ventilator Y-piece. So we have different sizes of this, and you can use the right size, which gives you the 30% leak, and it's fairly simple to secure around the baby, and it stays quite well. We can put tape around this part to secure it. So there is an intrinsic resistance in the circuit, and the compliance can be variable of the circuit as well. So for this reason, Professor Ramanathan says that you have to increase the settings up to 30% compared to the regular interface to deliver the same pressure. So in general terms, once you use the RAM cannula, it works, but how much pressure you need may need to be increased because there is a resistance in the circuit. So for example, if we start NIPPV at 20/5 with the regular machine, when you're using the RAM cannula interface, you may go to 22, 22 or 23 and a PIP of 6 or 7, the CPAP pressure. So in a bigger baby, you can go to 30s of PIP and 7 to 8 of PEEP as well. So remember that the map delivered is according to the lung condition. So you increase it as needed and then reduce it at the appropriate time. Once a baby doesn't have retractions, you start weaning the pressure. I told you about the hysteresis. You may be able to drop the pressure without worsening the condition of the baby. So 2 or 3 centimeter easily you can reduce at each stage. And train your nurses. You don't wean by the time. You wean as you see the baby improving. So if you leave the baby on the same setting and the baby doesn't need it, you may have overdistension, you may have iatrogenic PPH, and even with non-invasive ventilation and feed intolerance and all these problems are more. So always start feeds in a stable baby or non-invasive ventilation fairly early. 2 hourly tube feeds is what I prefer, and we usually start feeds almost immediately in a term baby If you have donor milk or EBM, it's better. If not, get the consent. Start with the first feed as EBM with the initial express milk, and then start formula as well. So these babies are much calmer when you feed them, and you don't have any contraindication to feeding on CPAP. You can start with 2 to 5 ml according to the size of the baby per feed, increase 1 to 2 ml every feed, and by 24 hours, most of these babies are on full feeds. The infant flow driver or biphasic CPAP we discussed earlier. So this is the flow generator at the nose. So you have the flow coming towards the baby. During inspiration, the baby breathes in, so it goes towards the baby. And during exhalation, that flow turns back. So the baby is breathing against this resistance of the flow turning back. So the PEEP is maintained during exhalation. So it also reduces the work of breathing because with the inspiration, there is no increased work for the baby, and while exhalation, the PEEP is maintained by this fluidic flip. The bubble CPAP, we discussed already that the depth of insertion of it helps, and some people have hypothesized that the bubble effect is like high frequency resonance in the chest, and it keeps the baby a little more active as well. There are studies which have compared infant flow driver with bubble CPAP, Professor Sunil Sinha and Samir Gupta's team, Middlesbrough, and they basically showed that the bubble CPAP and infant flow driver are comparable, but if you measure the nasopharyngeal pressure, bubble CPAP gives a little higher pressure. So we have many Cochrane reviews to support these. So nasal CPAP in preterm babies helps in successful extubation, and so it helps to reduce extubation failure. And I explained earlier how non-invasive ventilation works in apnea of prematurity, so CPAP helps as well. Early CPAP reduces the need for IPPV. So if the baby has starting recession, start CPAP early, you need the appropriate support. And short binasal prongs are better than the nasal or nasopharyngeal prongs we used to use. So nowadays, hardly anyone uses the unilateral prongs unless it's a baby with airway problems or cleft palate. So in terms of NIPPV, you can use RAM cannula or other similar interface which can connect the ventilator. In general, I mean, if you're extubating a baby to NIPPV or going to NIPPV from CPAP after surfactant therapy, you can usually look at these invasive ventilation settings and give either the same or little higher. And if you're using RAM cannula, you have to give like 20 to 30% more support compared to that. And then obviously titrate according to the effort of the baby. And in NIPPV, we have synchronized and non-synchronized. Synchronization may happen with the pressure sensor at the ventilator end. It's not the heat flow, heated anemometer, heat wire anemometer, but it's at the ventilator end, so the lag time is more. Previously, we used to have the infant star ventilator, which had the Grace B capsule based, but that's not used anymore. That kind of synchronization is used in biphasic CPAP as well. The Grace B capsule is used for that. So the biphasic CPAP is not the same as NIPPV because here it's flow driven and you have a limit to how much pressure you can give. When the ventilator is regulating it, it has the valves that close to increase the pressure generation without increasing the flow. The same 6 to 8 liter flow, you can reach a high PIP of 24 or 30 even. But here with biphasic CPAP, you need a flow of 8 to 10 liters to reach a higher pressure, and obviously when the flow is going through, the side effects of gastric distension and everything else comes up, and there is a limit on how much you can go. So the upper level is usually 4 to 5 more than the CPAP. So suppose you have a PEEP of 5 or 6 CPAP pressure, you can give 10 to 11 with the biphasic CPAP. And in the BiPAP machine, you can go up to 13, 14 if you're using synchronized, which uses a Grace B capsule on the abdomen. Compared to the CPAP, NIPPV more effectively reduces apnea and improves extubation failure. So we have multiple studies. Both Professor Vineet Bhandari and Professor Ramanathan have done a lot of work on NIPPV. And obviously, I have been using NIPPV with RAM cannula for many years, and it works well at extubation in the small baby. So if the baby is smaller, extubate to NIPPV. The only negative is if you have a small unit and you have less resources like the ventilator, you have to prioritize. So use it for the sicker babies and then use the bubble CPAP earlier for the CPAP requiring babies. So even though the ventilator can give you all the modes, if you have less units, you have to balance it by rotating between the units. So then high flow comes in as well when the baby starts improving on